My name is Michael Dana. In 2008, I was diagnosed with a rare brain cancer, and after 6 years, I was cancer-free. But the ordeal left me changed, with a different outlook on life and a new sense of priorities. While still recovering, I earned a degree in economics from UNC Chapel Hill. My studies taught me to analyze data and open my mind to see things differently. I also started formal training in the martial arts to better defend myself and use it as a means of extreme physical therapy. Since then, I've obtained black belts in 3 martial arts. I own and run a martial arts school and have logged over 51 teaching hours. To my friends and family, I'm a simple business owner. But to the martial arts world, I'm something else. I am Sifu Mike, and this is Dragon Theory.
Hey guys, how's it going? I'm Sifu Mike and welcome to another episode where I talk about all things related to martial arts and the martial arts industry. And so in this episode, I talk about technology, alright? Which you're like, hey, martial arts, punching and kicking, that doesn't involve like computers and microchips and stuff like that. But it does, okay? Make sure to watch this entire video to see how everything relates, because I'm pretty confident that technology, even though it has definitely made everything in life easier, it has not made things better, right? And that's how the things relate. Okay, so I'm going to be talking a little bit about technology, because everyone will totally admit that, hey, life is so much easier with new and modern technology that we have nowadays, right? We can do things that we never used to be able to do before, okay? But it's not necessarily better, right? Instead of people learning how to, say, cook, they just put stuff in a microwave and they hit a button, right? Instead of having to learn to memorize phone numbers and just contact lists, they have a phone that does it for them, right? And so you have all these things that definitely have made things easier, but they haven't made things better. The actual individual is not a better human being because of it. They just have to know less, right? And they have no incentive to actually learn more. That's why we end up placing more value on people who do have those skills, who do know how to make stuff, right? Because so many people don't have it anymore, right? Technology is doing it all for you. We're losing the skills that we used to have as human beings because of some technology. Like I said, a lot of technology has definitely made things easier, but not all of it has made things better. Now, there is technology has definitely made things better, but most of it is making things easy, right? And not necessarily easy for the individual, but easy for the business that is creating that technology, okay? And one of the things I'm going to refer to, going backtrack, whenever I say modern technology, I'm also talking about products that are a direct result of modern technology, okay? Things that would not exist like 100 years ago, or, you know, any time in the past, right? They came about because of advances in modern technology, in math and science and stuff like that, all right? The big thing I'm going off of here, and I've talked about this in other videos, is the amazing fact that we went from not being able to fly to putting people in space, putting a man on the moon in 65 years. That's incredible. You have absolutely no clue how incredible that is. That much of a leap for mankind to go from not being able to leave the ground of the earth to setting foot on the ground of another celestial body. Alright, we've left the planet and went somewhere else. All of this, all of it was before the invention of the personal computer, before we had cell phones, before we had little computers in our pockets. We were able to do that. So why haven't we had that kind of technology advancement since? You know, we have microchips and computers and everything. We can process a tremendous amount of data, right? But we haven't been able to somehow progress as a species to the level that we did when we went from not being able to fly to putting people in space, right? In that same amount of time span, we haven't really progressed, done anything, right? We have, however, made lots of money, right? So people are making lots of money. That's the thing, because what we had before was incentive, and humans are very incentive people. Okay, everything we do, every choice we make is based on the incentive that we have, and a lot of times that incentive is emotional based, right? We have a feeling that we want to do this thing, so we make a choice based on the feeling. Did a whole nother video on that, so I'm not going to rehash all of these, how the brain works and feelings and stuff like that, but the point is we have incentives. So back in the day, the incentive was, hey, we needed air superiority to win this war, so we got really good in manufacturing planes and stuff like that, and flying and everything, and designing and stuff like that, and we made huge progress because we had the incentive to get that air superiority over the rest of the world, basically, right? And then it became a deal where it's like space race, where it's like, hey, we want to put people in space on the moon because we want to win the space race. We want to show the rest of the world that democracy is the best thing ever, right? Because when you think about it in business terms, communism, socialism, that kind of thing is really not good for the individual business, right? We're talking about a thing that literally is like everyone is equal, everyone has an equal share of everything, versus capitalism, democracy, where it's like, I'm going to get as much as I can, okay? Profit maximization, utility maximization, right? You know, more is better, right? Doesn't matter about equality, we want as much as we can. So the space race, if you really think about it, was a way to show the world that the individual business is the route that you need to go. You're going to make the most money, you're going to do the best if you go with democracy, right? And not necessarily equality. Okay, again, going back to I think the last episode where I talked about value and valuing your individuals instead of just treating them all the same. It's like having a value, having them all be the same price tag kind of deal. So we have this technology, but now the emphasis, the incentive has changed, right? They've won that battle, you know, they won the war, we've won the I don't know what you will want to call it. Space race we definitely won, but like we've shown the world that like democracy is the best thing, and like we want to have like individual businesses making lots of money and stuff like that. So now it becomes an issue of like, hey, what do we want to do next? What's the incentive next? It's going to be, okay, let's make as much money as possible. I mean, that was kind of the goal before. Now it's still the goal. Now we have a whole lot of modern technology that makes it super easy for us to make a whole bunch of money, okay? And one of the things I really want you to look at is the whole planned obsolescence. It's amazing that we are perfectly okay with planned obsolescence, and that's just literally something that's been going on for like 100 years. It kind of started with the car companies, right? That they literally would put like a new coat of paint on the same car and call it a different model, a different year, right? You ever stop to think about this? I mean, car companies are so amazing that they can't make a vehicle that last past a year, right? You think they would make something that they're like, hey, we're good for another 10 years. You don't have to buy another car. We're not going to make another car. But this one's fine, right? But then that means that everyone who buys that vehicle isn't going to buy another vehicle for another 10 years. And businesses need repeat business, all right? Otherwise, they go out of business. Once you stop buying from them, they go out of business. Just look at the theater industry. Look at all the industries that have been negatively affected by COVID. Right? They didn't last very long, not long at all, because people stopped going to them, people stopped paying money. They needed that repeat business. They needed people to keep coming in their theaters and, you know, putting butts in seats kind of deal. People wouldn't do that, right? You look at any business, car companies are the same way. If you stop buying vehicles from them, they're not going to last very long. That's the deal. So they're going to make a car specifically that will not last very long because they want you to buy another one, right? Every business does that. Even stuff in the grocery store, man. You can't buy a cleaning product that's actually worth anything because it's not within their incentive as the business to carry something that if you buy it one time, you don't have to buy it again for like another year, right? They want you to buy something that you're going to have to come back next week and buy again, right? That's one of those things, man. I order a particular type of cleaning stuff for my mat like online. I have to. They don't sell in the stores because you buy a gallon jug that lasts like 5 years, man. It's really good stuff. It's like used as industrial grade because in like hospitals and stuff like that, you have a very large area. They can use a lot of it. They can get that repeat business. But if you're talking about the individual, just me in this space and my mats, yeah, man, I'm not going to use that concentrated cleaner a whole lot. So I'm going to buy one thing that's going to last me like 5 years. And I freaking use it every day for everything, man. It's awesome. But it's very effective. And that's why it's not actually in any of the stores, okay? You find that with everything, all right? You have technology that makes life easy, not better, because it would be better for me to be able to go to a store and buy something and not have to buy it again. It's utility maximization, right? I get the most out of that product, right? That's going to help me. I'm going to save as much money, right? But what's good for me isn't good for the business providing the service or the product or the good. Okay, so that's something you got to keep in mind. Something I've been highlighting in all of these videos is that what is good for the business is not necessarily good for the customer because the business needs repeat business from the customer. The customer only wants to do things once. So especially if they're like buying a product. But we have this planned obsolescence. The car companies kind of spearheaded and started, and they were like, hey, if we just make this seem like it's a new thing, seem like you have to get this thing, then we can do it. Then as time progressed, they got much better at making products that they knew would not last very long, right? Because it's incredibly naive to think that we can, put people in space before a computer, but somehow we can't make something that lasts a couple of years. It makes no sense. We have, like back in the day, they made furniture that would last generations, right? I still have a couch that was passed down to me from my granddad, right? Very good quality made stuff. We don't have that nowadays. How is life better if we can't even make a couch, a piece of furniture that won't last past like 10 years, right? None of that makes sense unless the incentive is that you're trying to get as much money as you can from a person instead of actually trying to make life better for them. You're just trying to exploit them and get as much as you can from them, right? See this all the time. The biggest thing I see is in like computers and cell phones. Like it's amazing that you can buy a laptop or a computer and the operating system only lasts for like a year or two, right? That's how great technology is nowadays, is that you can buy something that's only good for a year. I mean, if you look at the release dates for, I think, really every operating system, Microsoft kind of lasts a couple of years between theirs, but like with Apple, every single year they're releasing a new operating system. And 9 times out of 10, it was like, here's an operating system, and then next year, here's the fixes for all the things that were wrong in that operating system. Then next year, it's like, here's a brand new one. And the year after that, here's the thing that fixes everything that we broke in the brand new one. All right, every single, there's been like years, decades they've been doing this. And everyone seems to be okay with the fact that they're just like not capable of creating a single product that will last a very long time, right? The easiest way you can figure out the life of any product is if they offer a warranty, right? If they offer a 1-year warranty, I guarantee you that thing is good for just a year, okay? That is like the lifespan. That is what they've planned in it because we got modern technology that allows us to do that, right? You're taking too much for granted here. I mean, yeah, stuff is complicated and everything like that, but hey, man, for real, can you make something that can last a little bit longer? but they won't because it isn't in their incentive. It doesn't make any sense. They're not going to make a whole bunch of money if they make a phone that will last 20 years or whatever like that, because you buy it one time and you'll never buy it again, right? I've been trying to use my phone for as long as I can, but like because of updates and whatever like that, I've basically been forced to buy another phone, right? Not that it's broken, right? They just want to get more money out of me, and they're actually making features on new phones that don't, like, they're not better, right? You know, from a person who does audio all the time. I mean, I've got a nice audio, you can't see it now, but I've got a really good audio setup for this filming and stuff. Right? I'm big on audio, but to have a phone that doesn't even have an audio jack, right? It's like, really, dude? I mean, come on. That's not making things better. It's just making it harder, because then you're lowering the quality if I do things wirelessly, right? Like, I can't transfer that much data, right? Makes sense once you actually know about the stuff, but it doesn't for them, because they're like, hey, we want to force you to buy these new earbuds or headphones or whatever, use Bluetooth or whatever. They want to force you to do all these things that you otherwise wouldn't have to do. It's like, hey man, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. So what do they do? They break it. So you have to fix it, right? Happens everywhere. Happens with all things, right? When going back to the last episode, where I talked about how society is responsible for creating the curriculum that is taught in schools, right? Well, now if you look around, you'll see that a lot of schools are doing online learning, alright? Because go understand that. Thing is, they're doing a lot, they're pushing hard for that. But I also happen to see, though, is you have people from a very early age are just always on a screen, always, you know, in front of a computer, always having a phone in their hand. Okay, they're always online. I can't tell you how many times, like, you just think about the conversations that you've had with people who the whole conversation was ended because somebody pulled out a phone and they're like, let me check online, right? They don't know anything. They just have something that tells it for them, right? These kids, entire generations, they're not living life. They're not going out and living life. They're just looking at it at a screen and thinking that, hey, this is going to be it, all right? That's not beneficial to them. That's beneficial to the people who are in charge of making those screens, right? Makes sense, right? That they would be perfectly okay with pushing this thing, getting people from a very early age to be hooked on having a screen in front of them all the time, all right? So the reason for this is, okay, and this is my economics mindset looking at things differently, okay? From a business owner, right? I'm a business owner. Way back in the day, right, we could only control our supply. We have supply and demand, okay? And so we can only control the supply. And the two highest costs of any business of scale is going to be the rent and labor. Now, if you can control the rent, you don't have rent, you just have the labor. So what do? And this has been going on for just hundreds of years, like centuries, right? To control the supply, to control that extra cost of labor, they got slaves. So you had slave labor. That was the biggest thing. Nobody ever really talks about why slavery started. That's why. It's the control for that extra variable to make as much money as they could, because it's like, hey, I don't want to have to work to get this thing, so I'm going to have this person do it for me. And I don't want to have to pay them, so I'm going to make them a slave, right? That way I can get more money, right? They can control the supply so they can get more money, because at the time they couldn't control the demand, all right? Now we have modern technology. Now we have people who from age 3 to whatever now are growing up with like screens in front of them with phones, and they're attached to it, they're addicted to it. There's algorithms that make them more engaged with their phone, right? So they have to get a new one all the time whenever it comes up. We have technology that has means of giving businesses the control of the demand, They no longer have to control the supply. We don't need slave labor. We have slave customers. We can control the demand through planned obsolescence and what have you. People have to get it. I can't, like, there's so many people, as soon as their phone breaks, right, they immediately have to go get a new one or have to go get it fixed or whatever like that, because like they can't function as a human being without it. That's the thing, alright? They've controlled the demand so that you cannot do anything without this. You look at like what is considered essential services and not, alright? All the things that are connected to having just a cell phone and this modern technology and stuff, those are all still going, right? It makes sense. It really does. It's like, hey, I have slave customers. I know that if I do this and do this and do that, X amount of people are going to buy this thing and I'm going to get a certain amount of money, right? That's something you can bank on as a business. That is amazing, right? Nobody's talking about that. Probably because they're still talking about slave labor that ended like over 100 years ago. You know, a couple hundred years ago at this point. I mean, it's just like this thing that already happened. It's like, hey, look at this. Keep looking over here. Look over here. We're going to do this thing while you're doing that. But we're going to keep you occupied on this issue that is kind of a non-issue. Right? Keep talking about the slave labor that happened to your grandparents' kind of deal. And not focusing on the fact that, hey, you might be a slave customer at this point. You know, you don't have any choice in the matter that you have to spend money just to be alive. Spend money just to do these things in life because of modern technology. Alright, so like I said, at the very top of this thing, technology has definitely made things easier, but not necessarily better. And a lot of times, the people it's made things easy for are the people who are making the technology. They're making the money off of individuals. Okay? So, you're probably wondering now how this relates to the martial arts industry, right? Well, martial arts industry, just like the regular, any kind of industry for the most part, is actually not trying to make things better, right? You know, so that's the thing. Most businesses are not trying to make life better. They're just trying to make as much money as they can, right? They don't really care if, you know, the long road this is a bad thing, or if we got slave customers or whatever like that, or we keep this social issue going that should have been like squished years ago, decades ago, right? And to keep it going because it means more money, right? We're not trying to make life better for the person next to us. We're just trying to get as much money as we can for us, right? Life is short. Take what you can, kind of deal. And so that's their mindset. Well, martial arts, kind of the same way, man. We have an entire industry that is not trying to make things better for people in the industry. Not trying to make the industry better, right? And what's crazy is they're not even trying to make it easy, right? They are trying to get as much money as they can from you by making it difficult, right? By making it something where it's like you have to spend 5 years to get a first rank in a system, right? To learn something you probably could have learned in like 6 months, right? It's not that complicated. It's not that hard. Believe me, man, I've been teaching martial arts for like a very long time. I'm doing a lot of martial arts, and human brain is much better than you realize, okay? We're much tougher than you think. And so this is easy. It's like teaching theory versus teaching calculator, right? In math class. So it's like, hey, well, I'm going to teach you how to pen and paper all these numbers and not teach you how to do the calculator. Not how to teach you how to crunch all of these numbers. You're going to crunch 100 numbers in your head, right? That's all the martial arts industry is doing. Whereas you can take a calculator and crunch like thousands of numbers, right? Millions of numbers, whatever like that. Use software to your advantage. But they're not doing that. They're just trying to keep things the same way they were like hundreds of years ago, right? Unbelievable, man. To think that like things haven't changed in a certain amount of time and they're trying to do things the exact same, right? Because even in other industries, technology has made things change. Yes, they have continuously found new ways of getting our money, but they've changed with the times. Martial arts industry, man, hasn't changed. They're still trying to do stuff that they did decades ago, 100 years ago, right? They just ignoring that there is a calculator or software or whatever like that. They're just trying to pen and paper everything and making it more complicated and difficult than it actually is. So they're not making it easy, and they're not making it better. Alright, so it's one of those things. So one of the reasons why I made the series is that I do want to make the martial arts industry better, man. You know, there's so many different facets of the industry that could be a whole lot better if we utilize like modern technology and stuff like that, and you know, try to make things better for people. I mean, we're talking about for centuries, people were using martial arts as a means of exercise, of physical fitness. And somehow we managed to let that one element go, and the entire fitness industry took it, ran with it, and developed, and is way bigger than the martial arts industry. I mean, that's like functional movement, body weight exercise stuff. That is like our game in martial arts. And you do all that while learning how to punch, kick, and like, you know, hit people in the face. But somehow we let that go because we're amazing, because we went the easiest route of like, hey, we're going to do a lot of sparring and stuff like that because it doesn't take any strength to spar. It doesn't take any time. You don't have to spend time working out and doing these hard exercises and having that mental discipline that we always talk about giving people you would need to do for exercise. Instead, we're just going to have lots of sparring and teach you the techniques through the situation and hope that you'll maybe learn as you go along, and you'll get like busted up and maybe some injuries, but it's okay. We've got your money. We've got you under contract. So we're just making so much better. No. It is not good at all. And that's kind of why I'm making these things. It's like you have the martial arts industry is a very good microcosm for the rest of society. So the difference being is that nobody cares about the martial arts industry except for people in the martial arts industry. And so you have a lot of things that are totally unchecked, and there's just a lot of bad going on. So I'm relating that to the rest of society and the rest of the world, because then you can kind of understand where everything is at. Hopefully, maybe, hopefully. So hopefully you watch this and you have learned some stuff. Watch my entire series, man. I've got a whole long thing. I've been doing this for the whole year, almost. And episode 34 we're on? Yeah. I've been counting down my episodes, the last couple episodes. I don't know if you've been paying attention. You should. You should be watching all my videos. Watch all my videos. And check out my YouTube channel, YouTube/tkfmma. Alright? I've got like 250 some odd videos on there. I'm always adding stuff all the time, man. And I've got a Facebook and Twitter and Instagram for TKFMMA. So this is the kind of the handle, TKFMMA. I've even got a website, tkfmma.com. Everything is TKFMMA. Right? I even have the dragonmethod.com. Okay, it's another website filled with video content about all things martial arts. Right? Not on YouTube though. Sorry, burping. Those videos are instructional videos. They're more detailed. They're a little bit longer. Alright, they talk about everything, all these different facets in martial arts. I teach you how to punch, I teach you how to kick, I teach you everything, man. So go to the dragonmethod.com. Again, that's thedragonmethod.com. I'm doing a trial membership period right now, so you can get a trial membership for free. So definitely check it out. Definitely subscribe to the whole thing. Actually, you subscribe to YouTube. That thing you sign up for. You gotta get my words right, man. Words are important. But yes, dragonmethod.com. And if you go to, again, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, Dragon Method. Got them all, man. My all social media out kind of deal. And so that's the thing. dragonmethod.com, TKFMMA. Look me up. I'm trying to be everywhere. Alright? And I try to make these videos all the time, man. I'm trying to put one out every single week. Okay, so definitely like, share, subscribe, hit that little bell wherever it's at. Okay, there's a button somewhere. You know, get the notifications that these videos are coming out, because they do. They come out like whenever I can get a chance to actually post them. I try to get one every Sunday. At least these guys every Sunday. So, anyways, hope you learned something. hope you enjoyed this video. And definitely just be good to each other, man. These businesses and everything like that, they're not trying to make life better for the person next to them or anybody, but you can, right? You can definitely make life better for the person next to you, right? That's what we all should be doing, man. If everybody made life better for the person next to them, this world would be awesome. Because life would be better, but we're not, alright? So we need to focus on that and understand what is easy may not necessarily be better, okay? Just easy. My phone is ringing, so I'm going to catch you guys later. Yeah, take it easy. Goodbye, guys.